Hey guys, Manny Vaya here, founder of 2000books.com, and today we're talking about Crushing It by Gary Vaynerchuk. There's a follow-up to his initial book, Crush It, which I loved as well. So we're going to talk about Crushing It, where he's talking about how you can build a business around your passion. He talks about all the different social media platforms that are out there and all the different people who are actually practicing and putting his ideas from Crush It into place today, and they're crushing it, literally crushing it. So with that said, let's jump into it. I'm going to talk about 9 top ideas from this book, and let's jump right into it. So coming in at number 1 is the best marketing strategy in the world, and that is caring for your customer. Now, if you're trying to build your business around your passion, you might feel like you don't have all the marketing chops you need in order to build a business, in order to grow a business, in order to grow a following, in order to sell to that audience. But here's the key. The key is that understanding that the best marketing strategy is to care for your audience. Here's the thing. The audience doesn't care how much you know until they know that you care for them, okay? So it's really important to understand that if you care for your audience, they will return the favor to you. But if you don't care for the audience, there's no way you will be able to sell anything. He talks about a lot of this idea in the book, Jab, 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 Right Hook, which is all about giving, caring, and then asking for something. So giving and caring for the customer is the number 1 marketing strategy that's here today, and that's been around for hundreds of years, thousands of years. So really understand that this is a powerful strategy. So I was literally coaching someone on their email marketing strategy a while ago, and when I was talking to the person, he said, I don't like to write emails because I don't think I can persuade through email. And I said, you don't need to persuade. All you need to do is educate. If you can educate the customer on your emails, on your videos, on your podcast, whatever it is, you will turn them into a customer. So don't think about persuasion, because that's not a marketing, that's not where you are. You want to educate. The more you educate with care, the more likely they are to buy. So don't worry about the fact that you don't know how to persuade over email. All you need to do is educate and educate and educate with care. And if you educate with care, they will actually become your customers. So number 1 strategy, the best marketing strategy of all time, is to care for your customers. Number 1. Coming in at number 2 is that in order to build this business, you have to be 51% altruistic and 49% selfish. What does this mean? In order to grow this business, in order to build this business, you have to be able to give. You have to give more and more and more. So there's this fine line where all you have to do is want to give more than you receive. You have to want to give more than you receive, and you have to constantly show that. You have to constantly give a whole lot more than you receive. And that is the line. If you are more altruistic than you are selfish, you will make it in this business. But if you get in this business just to make a quick buck, if you get in this business just to make some money for yourself and just to be selfish, you will get your ass kicked, because this business will chew you out. People will know that they cannot trust you, they don't like you, and it will be a lot of pain. So you have to be more altruistic than selfish. You have to be more giving than receiving. You have to always consider, what can I do for them, rather than think of what can they do for me. Really important. And a great book on this topic is Give and Take by Adam Grant. He did a lot of research on this and came to a very similar conclusion. It's about giving, and then asking for something, right? So really important understanding here, 51% altruistic, 49% selfish. Give more, and you shall receive. Coming in at number 3 is how to increase your chances of success by 1000x. And that 1000x factor is passion. Because when you have passion for something, when you have excitement for something, when you have the joy for doing that thing, you will go through the failures, you will go through the hard times, you will go through all the suffering, you will go through all of that just to make this idea work. But if you don't have the passion, even with the first hiccup, even with the first obstacle, you will give up. Even with the first challenge in your way, you will give up, because you don't really care for that subject. You don't really care for that specific thing, or you don't really have joy. You're not going to enjoy the journey. So if you can't enjoy the journey, if there are a lot of roadblocks, if there is a lot of problems, what do you think will happen? You will give up. So if you want to literally skyrocket your chances of success, you've got to focus on the things that are exciting to you. You've got to focus on your passion. Really, really, really important. I mean, 2000 Books here is a work of love. It's a work of passion. I love these books. I love these ideas. I left my corporate career. I left my engineering job to do this business. I love it. That's why I do it. I have the passion for it. So my brother started a startup a year ago, and he was working on that startup in the medical field, and he was working really hard for a few months. And every time I would talk to him, I would ask him, do you really want to do this business? Is this something you really care for? And he's like, yeah, man, I want to do this. It's not about whether I care. There's a big opportunity here. I think we can make it. I think there's a lot I can do. And I kept on asking him, do you really care? Are you really passionate? And he never really gave me an answer to that question. He would keep saying, oh, there's such an opportunity. I think we can change the world. We can do this. We can do that. What happened, unfortunately, was he actually decided to not pursue that startup. Why? Because of the inevitable obstacles that came his way. As soon as the obstacles start showing up, he said, I don't know if this is worth doing it. I don't know if this is worth pursuing. What happened here? He wasted all this effort, all this time, all this energy, all the money on something he didn't have passion for. And he kept on going for a while, but as soon as the obstacles started to show up, the one big obstacle showed up, and he said, nah, it's not worth it. Why? Because he wasn't enjoying that thing. He wasn't enjoying it as much. He didn't really have as much passion for it as some of the other things might have been there, right? So you have to be very careful. If you pick up things that you're not passionate about, but you think you're going to make money because this is a good opportunity, you might be in for a really rude awakening, because that shit might take forever to actually work for you. There will be obstacles, there will be problems, there will be setbacks, and you will give up in the way. All right, the next big idea is be patient and go fast. Now you're probably wondering, Manny, you totally lost me here. How can it be that I'm patient, but at the same time, I'm going really fast? You've got to be patient in the long term. Now there's a real paradox here. And as you know, I love paradoxes. I talk about paradoxes. I talk about paradoxes all the time. And this is one of those paradoxes. You have to be patient in the long term. Things will work out in the long term. But at the same time, it will be hard. There will be challenges. There will be setbacks. There will be suffering. As Gary Vaynerchuk likes to call it, you will have to eat shit for a while, and that's okay. That is part of the process. Once you accept that that is part of the process, once you accept that it's going to be hard for a while, then you will not fight that. You will not fight the patience. You have to have that patience, that it will take time to build this business up. So don't give up and start doing something else. Don't keep on changing your business every day just because it's not working out yet. You have to think compound effect. You have to think the exponential effect that will take hold after some time. But initially, you don't see the results. I mean, two great books on this topic, Compound Effect, that talks about the idea that these things that we do on a daily basis, the things that we're working on for a while, they don't show results. And then most people give up very quickly because they don't see the results. But the key to life is in the compounding, in the sense, over time, the results are really big. But if you give up every time you don't see results for a while, you will never get those results, because you'll never allow the effects to compound. You'll never allow anything to compound, for that matter. So you have to be patient. You have to understand that these things will take time. These things will take effort, and that's quite okay. At the same time, on the other end of the spectrum is speed. You've got to go really fast. You've got to go as fast as possible. You have to implement as fast as possible. One of the things I learned early on in my entrepreneurial career was speed of execution, speed of implementation is one of the characteristics of a successful entrepreneur. So you have to have very high speed. You have to go and put things out there. You have to keep on putting stuff out there. You have to produce content at a rapid pace. You have to produce, your products at a rapid pace, or whatever it might be. Speed is crucial, but at the same time, you have to have the patience that in the long term, it will all work out. Even though in the short term, you might be struggling, even though in the short term, you might be quote unquote eating shit, that's okay. In the long term, it will all work out. As long as you have that patience that it will work out in the long term, and as long as you work hard and you go really fast right now, it will all work out. The next big idea is that it is much, much, much better to be wrong 10 times and right 3 times than just to be right 3 times. Now, what does this mean? This is a very powerful statement here. What Gary Vaynerchuk is saying is that most people are just trying to be right. They're just waiting for that perfect opportunity, and they're waiting to prepare so that they can be right, they can win. But the key is to understand that you are much better off losing. You're much better off failing 10 times and then winning 3 times, or winning 3 times in the process while you fail 10 times, rather than just winning 3 times. Why? Because in those 10 failures is so much learning. There is so much stuff you will have learned in the process that you will never learn if you just wait for that perfect opportunity when you will win. If you just wait for being perfectly ready when you will win, because that will not give you the learning that those 10 failures will give you. And again, this ties into the idea that we talked about earlier, which is speed of execution. If you go fast, you will break things. You will fail. I mean, as I think it's Mark Zuckerberg who said, go fast and break things, because that's what I think sort of what Facebook Facebook lives by, as in they will make these updates, they'll make these big changes, and then suddenly the world will be up in arms and saying, hey, how did you do that? Why did you do that? And then they'll be like, oh, sorry, we'll go fix it again. But that's the key. You have to go fast. You have to learn a lot faster. The key is learning, and that's something I learned in the book, The Lean Startup. Eric Ries talks a lot about one of the most important metrics for a startup. One of the most important metrics is how fast can you learn? Speed of learning. That is one of the most important metrics. And learning from doing, that is the key here. So how fast can you learn from doing, from putting things out to the world, is one of the most important metrics for success in the startup world. So in order to do that, in order to learn fast, you have to be willing to fail. You have to be willing to fail, and in the process, you will also win. So 10 failures plus 3 wins are much better than 3 wins only. Always think about that. Really powerful concept. Not only that, I could look back at my whole entrepreneurial venture and see that it's true. It's so true that all those times when I allowed myself to fail a bunch of times and in the process I succeeded, they were much more valuable than compared to the times when I was just waiting and waiting to get ready or trying to be perfect in order to win. So really important idea here, guys. The next big idea is actually a law of thermodynamics. And as a physicist, this is something I geek out on, but think about it. Here's the simple law of thermodynamics, which says that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. The total energy in the universe will always be the same. What energy does though is it changes forms. So in a thermodynamic system, the net heat applied to a system is equal to the net work output of the system. Here's a simple way to look at it. Whatever you put in, that's what you will get out. So whatever heat you put in, that's the amount of work will get done. So whatever amount of work you do, that's the output you will produce. That's going to be correlated to the output you produce. So be very careful and don't let yourself be seduced by the idea of quick money, easy money, spammy money, all that stuff. Please don't do that, guys. All right. The next big idea is that you are going to eat shit for a long time. This is exactly his words. These are Gary's words. But the truth is, it will be hard, it will be challenging, it will be struggle, it will be painful. There will be times when you'll feel like crying. There will be times when you'll question everything. There will be times when you'll feel like, why did I start this? Maybe I should have gone back to do what I was doing. Why did I start this business venture? Whatever it is, it will be hard, and you have to understand that it will be problematic. There will be a lot of challenges on this journey. It will be painful. Accept it. In the book 10x Rule, Grant Cardone talks about the idea that whatever you're trying to do, expect 10x more obstacles than you were initially expecting. Because when you expect that it's going to be hard, when you expect that it's going to be there's going to be so much more obstacles, you're going to automatically work harder, and you're not going to get phased in face of those challenges. You're not going to stop yourself in face of those challenges. You're not going to get discouraged when those challenges inevitably show up, right? You're going to keep going because you realize you have to eat shit for a while, right? It's going to be 10x harder than you anticipated. So this is really similar to the idea of being patient in the long term. But I want to make sure there's a distinction here. You have to embrace the struggle. You have to understand there is going to be a lot of hard work and a lot of heartache, and that is going to be okay. You're going to embrace it, and you're going to work much harder because you anticipate that there will be challenges. So hard work is crucial when you know that you will eat shit, when you know things will be tough. The only way out is working harder. That the hard work will take care of all of this. It's okay to expect and accept the idea that you will eat shit for a while. The next big idea is that you have to stop trying to become a lifestyle entrepreneur and live the 4-hour work week. Now, here's the thing. I love the book 4-Hour Work Week, by the way. If you haven't read it, highly recommend that book. It's by Tim Ferriss. He actually teaches the idea of how you can build a life where you only have to work 4 hours a week. Now, here's the thing. The idea is somewhat realistic in the sense, at some point in the future, when you totally get yourself away from this business, you could work 4 hours on this business and still make money. But today, right now, this reality is much different. You have to work really hard to make this business work. You have to become a worker. You cannot think of yourself as a quote-unquote lifestyle entrepreneur and say, hey, I'm just enjoying my lifestyle while I'm building this business. That's not going to happen. When you're building a business like this, you might have the freedom of time and location, as in where you work, when you work, all those things are okay. But it doesn't mean that you go from working 50, 60 hours a week to working 4 hours a week. That's not going to happen. If you are in the phase of building this business, it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of effort. So stop trying to think of yourself as a lifestyle entrepreneur and start thinking of yourself as an empire builder. Stop this whole idea of, oh, I'm only going to work 4 hours a week. Instead, realize it will take you time. It will take you a lot of time to get to the point where you can work 4 hours a week and still let the business keep working, because you hire someone to do most of the work, or you hire a whole team, or you maybe sell the business, whatever it is. Initially, it will be a lot of work. Initially, it will take a lot of time to get the business to work, to get the business to actually do what you want it to do. So this is a really important concept, guys. You will not be a lifestyle entrepreneur today, okay? You have to be a real hard-working man or a woman today. Lifestyle entrepreneurship, or quote unquote living the lifestyle, comes much later. It's not for right now. It's not for the early stages of building a business. It's for much later, when you already are profitable and you're wildly profitable and you're happy with those numbers and you know you can hire someone to do a lot of the things. Then you can go and enjoy, and you can quote unquote enjoy a 4-hour work week. But at the same time, remember, just because you work for 4 hours a week doesn't mean that you're enjoying your life, because it can actually get pretty depressing working 4 hours a week and not having anything else to do in life. I've personally seen people go through that process. They go from building a business so that they can work 4 hours a week, and then when they go to 4 hours a week, they realize they have nothing more to do in life. So they come back to start another business, or to again grow that business. So the 4-hour work week, it's a great idea. In some ways, it is an idealistic notion of what life could be like, but in reality, you're much better off having to work really hard to make things happen. You will be on purpose, and you will live a much more fulfilling life. The next big idea is that you are the unique piece of creative. Now, a lot of people, quote unquote, in this creator space who want to be creative, they are constantly struggling to create something because they're thinking, hey, I want to be creative. But the thing is, you are the creative piece in this whole thing. It's because you are the one who's conveying this message. You are the one who's getting in front of the audience. That is what makes you different. That's what makes this message different. Now, let's take the example of 2000 books. No one will ever do summaries like I do. Why? Because I'm a physicist, I'm a computer engineer. I've spent a lot of years in the engineering industry. I've actually literally managed billion-dollar cell phone projects. I've been building this business as an entrepreneur for the last 3 years. So I have a very different perspective. Not only that, I've read over 1,000 books at this time. So I bring a very different perspective on these summaries than anyone else would, right? So I am the creative in this whole thing. I am the one, the unique piece of creative in this whole thing. I don't have to worry about being creative with my summaries. It doesn't really matter, because my perspective itself is what makes them creative. So if you're really excited about building a business like this, where it's all about your passion, about your hobbies, and you want to crush it in that space, then I can help you, and I want to help you. But if you're one of those tire kickers and you want to make a quick buck, I don't want to help you. So if you want me to help you, if you want me to coach you, if you want me to help you shorten your learning curve, if you want me to shorten your curve by months and years, then apply to my coaching program, because I have personally built this kind of business. I've built 2,000 books from scratch, from zero, over the last 3 years. And you can actually look at some of my videos. I'll put the link in the description below, where I share my real revenue numbers. I actually take you inside my cart to show you my real revenue numbers. So it's a legit business. We have been able to grow it from zero, and it has been a long, hard journey. And I hope that with my coaching, you will actually be able to do it faster than I have been able to do. That's really my hope for this program. So if you are interested, go to 2000books.com/apply, apply for my coaching program, and be very genuine, be very thoughtful with that application, because I'm looking for people who are passionate, who are truly wanting to do something useful in this world. Once I get your application, I'll review it. We'll get on a phone call, or we'll get on a video call where we'll talk for a bit, so that I can really evaluate where your heart is at, and if you are really a good fit for my coaching program. If you're a good fit, you will be invited to join my program. If you're not a good fit, unfortunately, we'll part ways as friends. All right. So if you really want to build a business around your passion and crush it, apply for my coaching program. 2000books.com/apply. All right, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.